Welcome to the marketplace. Now, besides examining the mid and small cap companies of the Bursa Malaysia, which is what we always do here on the show, from time to time, we also pause to reflect on what's happening in the markets and discuss what to expect going forward. And for that, joining me on this episode of the show is Benny Lee. He's from the Malaysian Association of Technical Analysts. Benny, welcome to the marketplace.
That's a pleasure.
Let's start with the general. How has local market performed, in your opinion? And what are the best performing sectors?
Well, I think the market has done fairly quite well. If you compare it with the previous years, I think we are going to buck the 3 years of declines in the KLCI itself. We're already up about 7% year to date. So it's compared to the regional market performances. Actually, the market globally was quite mixed. We have few markets that have gone up, to the extreme high. You're looking at, for example, Hong Kong has gone up about 31%. The US Dow Jones has gone up about 25%. But the rest of the other markets are, between 10 to 15%. And of course, there are also the lower extremes, which is about 2 to 3%. So Malaysia is doing fairly quite well. But we have seen a correction in the past 6 months. And for the past 1 week, we have seen good support and the market has rebounded. And we're probably going to see this uptrend going to continue. The best performing sectors for the past 1 year was the technology sector. Of course, they benefited from the stronger ringgit for the past few years. And the consumer sector itself has also been increasing, although the market is actually expecting a slowdown in the consumer products. But the index has actually been creating historical highs. So I think the export-oriented companies sector has been doing well for the past few years.
And indeed, some correction has been seen in the second half of this year. Foreign fund inflows has been particularly challenging for the Bursa Malaysia, especially compared to quite a good first half. So moving forward into next year, what do you foresee? Do you foresee foreign fund inflows still being challenging for the local boss?
Well, foreign fund has been accumulating this year. They have been distributing for the past 3 years. They have seen some pocket of value in the Malaysian market this year itself. So we are already seeing some increase in their buying in the local stock market. And I can foresee with the ringgit strengthening, the foreign fund participation should be a bit higher because, as compared with the other markets in the region or even globally, our market is still lagging behind the other markets. So there is still pocket of values in the Malaysian market.
Talking about the ringgit, where do you see the ringgit next year?
Well, we are seeing some strengthening in the ringgit, for the past 6 months, and I think this momentum can still go on moving next year. We have seen an increase in interest rates in the US, but that doesn't really affect our ringgit, and that shows there's still quite strong support in the Malaysian ringgit. And of course, when US starts to raise interest rates, we're probably going to see Malaysian raising interest rates as well. And that should help to support the ringgit. And we have also seen very good trade figures for the Malaysian market, and that would bring some inflows of funds and also increase or strengthen the Malaysian ringgit.
A lot of analysts are saying that next year is finally going to be the year when the ringgit is finally going to go back below the 4 ringgit to the greenback mark. Last seen, I think, in April 2016. Do you think so as well, or is it just too wild an assumption to make at this point?
Well, I'm not really sure about fundamentally how strong is it going to go, but when you look at the charts itself, technically, there is a chance for it to go below 4 ringgit to a US dollar next year. And based on the charts, we are looking at about 3 ringgit 80 cents, back to the back times.
When?
Probably next year. We do not know when, but we're probably going to see it strengthen probably the first half of the year itself.
One of the most talked about sectors this year, if not even in previous years, is the property sector. It has been seeing an increasing glut this year, probably even worse compared to recent years. How do you think the property sector is going to fare next year?
Well, we've already seen the report from Bank Negara, and that should, scatter the investors out a little bit. But as long as the interest rates remain low, I think there's still holding power. Because if you look at the property sector itself, the development for high-end property, which was the one that is focused most for the past few years, mostly are foreign-owned. Malaysians, we're probably going to look at the medium or the low-cost aspect of it. So there is still holding power. We're going to see, of course, a slowdown in the property sector itself because, with this kind of news, of course, the developers were not there to go and develop more properties. But the prices are probably going to be stabilized a little bit. we have already seen a decline, actually, not a really strong or steep decline, but property prices, rental has been going down. And we're probably going to see it maybe stay a little bit bearish for the property sector moving forward to 2018. But that being said, I think there is still a lot of demand, there's still a lot of liquidity in the market, and people are still looking for buying the property market, especially the Malaysian market itself, the medium market itself. And I think the developers should focus on the lower income group instead of the high income ones.
All right, we'll come back with Benny Lee from the Malaysian Association of Technical Analysts to talk about the markets and what to expect next year in the marketplace. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to the marketplace with me, Lukman Haris. Benny Lee joins me. He's from the Malaysian Association of Technical Analysts, and we are talking about what to expect from the markets next year and which sectors to look out for. Now, before the break, we were just talking about the property sector. I would still like to stick to that sector since a lot of people are talking about it. Do you think there's a bubble in our property sector?
Well, I don't really see it as a bubble yet unless the interest rate has gone up more significantly. I think the governments, especially in the more developed markets, they are, they have raised interest rates, but really quite in a slower rate. That should see the growth of the whole economy itself is doing pretty okay. So as long as they do not raise the interest rates, aggressively, then the property market I can still be sustained. But that being said, we will not see the growth that we have seen for the past 4 years. We're probably just going to see some slowdown. But I don't think so. There'll be a bubble yet, until the interest rates really go up. Not yet.
But I mean, you said it yourself. The problem is developers are building homes in price brackets that people cannot really afford. So after the Bank Negara report has come out, the property sector has taken a hit a bit in terms of sentiment. But do you think this will fend off developers from actually building expensive homes? Would they be looking to build more affordable homes, or are they just going to continue with their habits?
I think they will still continue. There is still demand for high-end properties. I mean, property is all about location. Yeah. If you build a high-end property in the wrong location, of course, you will not get the demand. But we see areas like even Mont Kiara or even Desa Park City. There's still a lot of developments there, but they're still oversold. So there is still demand, but if they just focus on high-end developments on areas which doesn't have demand in Kuala Lumpur itself, or maybe the other states as well, then we probably don't see the demand there. But I think the main demand would be from the middle and the lower income group, where they do really need to look for properties. So I'm not sure what the developers the direction are for 2018. But there is still demand. There's still a lot of liquidity in the market.
Oil prices, it has performed quite well recently. Is this a good sign for oil companies next year in the Bursa Malaysia?
Well, there has been a consolidation in the oil and gas sector for the past 2 years. When we have a steep fall from $100 US a barrel to about $30 US, companies will start to get panic. And we have seen also some of the companies are bleeding quite badly. But we are seeing a consolidation. Even though oil prices go up to 70 or even $80 US, we will not see an instant rebound in the oil and gas sector. But gradually it should. If the US dollar can stay at least, if the crude oil prices can stay at least above 70 US, then we should see some revival in the oil and gas sector.
So dare you put a price on oil? Let's speak like the second half of next year.
Well, the oil prices have been rising quite strongly in the past few months, and I think this momentum can continue moving forward to at least in the first half of next year. So we're going to see oil prices increasing, so we have to really get ready for fuel increase as well. But then that will be beneficial for the oil and gas sector. So moving forward, I think there is still a potential for oil prices to move upwards. And based on, again, price charts, we are looking at between 70 to 80 US next year.
All this are big players in our economy, ringgit, oil prices, even the property sector, as we've talked about just now. But next year, we have a wild card. we're going to have a general election. Happens every 5 years, obviously. So how will this factor into sentiment about the ringgit and also about the Bursa Malaysia?
Well, there's this, of course, uncertainty, and that's one of the reasons why our market is lacking behind the other performances of the markets, which is generally bullish, right, for the past few months. But moving forward, I think the fundamentals of the economy is still quite strong. But moving forward, I think there is still strong economic fundamentals for the Malaysian market to grow.
So very briefly, what's the 3 top factors that's going to be the driving factors for the ringgit and the Bursa Malaysia next year?
I think there'll be more foreign investors coming into the markets. For the stock market, I think because we are lacking behind the other markets, there are really some pocket of value in the Malaysian market itself. And of course, the strengthening of the ringgit itself will also attract foreign investors, and that should help the local market.
All right. Thank you so much, Benny Lee from the Malaysian Association of Technical Analysts, talking to us what to expect from the markets going forward next year in 2018. And that wraps up this episode of the Marketplace. Download our apps. You can see them available on Google Play and also the Apple App Store. Drop us your comments on all our social media platforms at 501 Awani. I'm Lukman Haris. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.